Welcome, welcome everyone to the next edition of the Stand Course podcast. Today I have Anne Goldberg, who is passionate in educating seniors to confidently navigate their smartphones and digital technology. She has over a decade of experience and she makes concepts simple, ensuring that older adults stay connected, independent, and engaged, old enough to have a past, yet young enough to embrace the future. Welcome, Anne, to the Stand Course podcast.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here, Julie. Thank you so much.
I'm so excited to have you here today. We're just about to get into three ingredients for success for not letting your age define you. But, Anne, I got to tell you, before I get started, all of my guests get asked this question. What is your favorite food?
Ooh, I think my favoriteest food is a really good sushi from a Japanese sushi bar.
Ooh, I like that. I love
Yeah,
that. Loving
yeah,
that. I had that this weekend. Awesome,
yeah.
awesome. Tell us a little bit about the work that you do before we get started, because I think that it's so amazing and your new book that's coming out.
Well, in 2013, I was guided to start a career teaching seniors how to use technology. And since then, I had been working with seniors ages 60 to 101, teaching them how to use their smartphones to communicate with family, to be in communication and in contact with the people that they love, to send and receive emails and texts, and to enjoy online surfing. And it has been a wonderful experience that has led me to the culmination of all of it, which is my book, Take This Phone and Shove It.
I love
It's a,
that.
right. It's a frustrated senior's guide to smartphones. And
Hmm.
it is a very complete, almost like an encyclopedia for seniors to use smartphones.
I'm loving this because most of us my age, and we're saying my age is like 50s, we have parents that are in their 80s. Some of us between 75 and 85, 95, this my age range. And so we know how frustrated we become when we try to explain the phone to our parents. And
Mhm.
listen, Ann, there's only so much patience I can have.
That's why I have a job,
I know.
because there's so much other stuff between parents and children, and the patience factor is definitely an issue, either with the parents towards the children or the children towards the parents.
It
It
is.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Because, there's a lot of the basics that we have to learn when we use those phones. So, oh my God. I love what you do because you make my life easier as a child of a parent of
Be-
that age.
Because you have to be the IT department for your parents. And so this book should help to replace you for the very basic things that they want to do, and even beyond some of the basics, to really understand how their phone can be a benefit to them.
Yeah, I love that. So I love what you're doing and I love your vitality in speaking about, not letting your age define you.
Yeah. I redefined myself with this career when I was 61. And on April 1st, I will turn 73.
I love
And
this.
I'm proud of myself
I'm proud of
for
you too.
taking this on. Yeah, yeah. And a lot of people might say, 73, what are you embarking on this whole new career? But yeah, because age doesn't define me. I don't know how, if I didn't know how old I was, I wouldn't know how old I am, if you understand
I
that.
do, I do.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't associate with being 73. I know I see it. I know it's a reality. I've been on the planet this long, but it does not compute in my brain and who I am.
I love it. I love that. And because it's so interesting when I speak to young people, like really young people, like 27, they're like, "Oh, it's all passed me by." I'm like, "You're 27. It's not all passed you by. It hasn't. You haven't even started." You know? So it's all depending on where you're coming from. But let's get into these ingredients for success. What would be the first one you want to talk about?
Patience, patience, and getting in there and really understanding that the phone is not your enemy, that actually by committing to learning it, commitment is another piece of it. You have to commit because in order to learn anything new requires practice.
Yeah,
Pick up that phone one time and do it, and then expect that a day later you're going to remember what you did yesterday. You won't. You're going to have to look at the instructions again. And then maybe the next time, and maybe even the next time.
yeah,
But if you keep doing it, that new memory will form in your brain. That's
exactly.
science. That's got nothing to do with your desire or lack thereof. It's only your commitment to continue to learn and patience with yourself
Yeah.
so that you don't get it right away. You don't beat yourself up.
It's really the commitment. It's really like the ability to stay curious enough to figure it out.
Curiosity. We watch little children. They are curious about everything. Everything is a wonder to them. I still have a piece of that. When I go outside and I see a beautiful sky, it is a wonder to me. I am in awe of that. And I invite all seniors to tap into that curiosity again. As we get older, we might think, oh, I've done everything, I've been there, done that. But no, there's still so much more to be curious about and to learn.
Yeah, there is. It's that moment of time where you give up that your life just ends. Like you have to stay curious and want to have that vitality to like I was just talking about this with somebody, at some point when you're older, you just kind of give up. But it's a choice. The minute you give up, that's it. It's over.
Mhm.
But it's that continuous commitment to getting better and staying curious that keeps you young. That's what
That's
keeps you young. That's like one of the vitamins. Maybe that's a
that's it.
vitamin of longevity is curiosity.
I would agree with you, and certainly in terms of mental stimulation and cognitive health. When we are curious, we are exploring, we are learning,
Yeah.
and learning is like calisthenics for the brain. So if you want to keep your brain sharp, you have to keep learning. That is the key.
Yes.
Challenge it, do different things. That's why the smartphone is both a blessing and a curse because it challenges us. And then we get
Yes.
annoyed that we can't get it right away, but it's okay. Just keep doing it and you will get it.
I love it. What's another ingredient you want to tell everyone about?
I think to overcome fear and recognize that just because you don't understand this doesn't make you dumb, doesn't make you stupid. It just means if you don't know the language, if the Greek language, are you stupid? No, you just don't know that language. And if
Yeah.
you don't know the language of the smartphone, you're not stupid. You just don't know the language of how to communicate with it, which is
Right.
all about gestures, which we cover in depth in the book.
Wow. Yeah, it's just having that patience with yourself.
That's right. Patience. So many seniors get impatient with themselves. They remember, I used to do this when I was younger and I could do it this way. And now I have to do it that way. So what? As long as you can still do it. So what? I don't jog anymore. My body won't sustain it. Doesn't mean I can't walk.
I love that. That's a good one. Tell us a little bit about rest and humor, and how that works in all of this.
Well, for me, when something is enjoyable, I tend to remember it. So humor is so important. As an example, I have a terrible memory. I have always had a terrible memory. It's gotten a little worse as I've gotten older. That's normal. When I can't remember something, I tell somebody, I'm so sorry, I don't remember your name. I have CRS disease. I say, what? Oh my goodness, what is that? And I tell them, I can't remember, fill in the blank. I don't want to
Oh,
put your show, but I can't remember stuff. Okay. I just can't remember it. I don't beat myself up because I can't remember it. I laugh at it.
Yeah.
Humor gets me through that. And the person whose name I didn't remember laughs and completely does not care anymore that I didn't remember their name. So humor just makes life so much more pleasant. It makes learning so much more pleasant.
Yes.
And when you have humor about yourself and that maybe you're not learning something so fast, it doesn't become a terrible thing. It becomes something you can build on. And rest, there is a ton of peer-reviewed evidence online that rest is essential. Sleep is essential to form new memories. It's when the brain really puts together what you've done that day and works to solidify it in your brain. So if you're somebody that doesn't sleep very much, it will be a little more challenging for you to learn. So do whatever you can to better your sleep and get rest so your brain can create these new memories.
Yeah. So important to take that very seriously. And the humor part I love. And I talk about humor all the time because humor, what it does is it allows oxytocin to get secreted into the brain. And once that happens, it aids in memory. So it helps you to memorize and remember things when we're having more fun. It's
Right.
like, and I tell people this in my courses, I do a speaker coaching program. And I'm like, guys, we need to be more memorable and more fun than this because
Right.
this is what you're competing with. You're competing with attention. And while people are watching you, they're looking at their smartphones. So that's what's happening. They're either looking at you or looking at this. If they're looking at this, you're not that interesting.
Yeah. Or you're a swipe away from not being heard.
Yep. Yeah. So I tell people that and they really take it seriously because they're going to know as a test. Like if you look in the audience and they're looking at their phones, well, you're not being fun enough or interesting enough or something enough.
It's an interesting point that you're making about humor. There's an addendum to that, which is about smiling. Because just engaging these muscles in the face releases serotonin
Oh,
and other neuropeptides that improve mood. So often, when I'm sitting with a client, somebody maybe in their 80s or so, and they're just not getting what I'm teaching, and I start to feel frustrated, my response to that is I smile. And that's my clue to myself to see this person with compassion
yeah.
and to understand that it's up to me to change how I'm communicating so they will understand what I'm trying to say. It shifts the entire interaction.
Yeah.
So when seniors are on the phone, when you're learning the phone and you're feeling frustrated, smile. Just raise your lips like
Well, and
this.
you have a really hard job. Like I'm not kidding.
I think so.
One of the hardest things I think you could possibly try to do is teach a senior how to use a cell phone. At least, I mean, I think that being a waitress is easier. Like being, I don't know, maybe even being an accountant is easier. There are so many things that are easier than this because, well, I just feel like there's so much going against you. At least what I've seen with my mom. She's the only one I've tried to teach, but I won't even go there with people because I feel like it's so like almost like I have a trauma response to this because I've had to sit with my mom and try to help her use her cell phone.
I have a business.
It's so
It's
bad.
embarrassing. Just go like this.
I know. Well, I mean, God bless you. God bless you. But
One of the
go ahead.
one of the keys to that, by the way, is I respect their intelligence enormously. I respect their experience and I respect their point of view with the smartphones that they don't want this. They want to go back to the way it was, but they can't go back to the way it was because blah, blah, blah. So when I come from a place of respecting their intelligence and speak to them from that,
Yeah.
I get a much better reaction from them. And I will tell them, you're smart. You've lived a life. But this is confusing. This is different.
Yeah.
This is like being dropped into a foreign country and not knowing the language. How do you get around?
Yeah. And I think it's so interesting because, even with my daughter, she's a digital native. Like she had that phone when she was 8. So that is like another language that she learned that is just ridiculously like integrated into her world. I tried to teach her how to podcast edit, like, something that might have taken somebody my age a week to learn. Forget about my mother's age. I literally showed her for not even a half hour. Not
So
even a
she
half
had.
hour. She's like, "Mom, what are you doing?" Like I did this in like fourth grade. And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
So it's really interesting. One of the reasons that seniors have an issue learning from young kids is that young kids, they cannot comprehend how another person doesn't get it right away because they grew up with it. Like you said, it's been part of them since forever.
Yeah.
No matter how good I get at using my phone, I can turn to my sons and they will eclipse my knowledge in
Yeah.
what they do because it is just they relate to it in a very different way
Sure.
and use it differently than the
Yeah.
way I use it.
It's true. I mean, I was I had my first computer in my college dorm room at 19. So, and I've been using a computer since I've been 19, and I've been working in a corporate job where I had to use a computer. So, when I work with people who don't have the fluency that I do, it's very easy to get frustrated because you're stuck on the basics. You're stuck on file saving. Like, because there's so many bigger things for us to be working on. I can't, like, in my head, I get frustrated. And I'm like, I can't be working on file saving with you. I can't like start to teach you where to put folders and all this stuff. Like, we have other things to fry. So that's why, like, when people get hired into jobs, it's like you need to have a level of fluency because they're beyond that.
That's right.
You now need to do the actual job. I need to teach you the job, not how to use Microsoft Word,
That is,
so
I don't know. Maybe it's because I had experience with a key punch computer in 1979. Maybe it's because in 1989, my husband at that time went hard and deep with computers. So we had a PC in our house since I'm 38, and I have been an entrepreneur from all of that time. And so I just sat and played with it, watched him, watched other people, picked it up, and
yeah,
just for whatever reason, I have an affinity for it. And I am thrilled to show people how to use it. It excites me so much to show somebody how to make a file folder.
that's great. We're going to send them all to you. And I'm sending all those people to you. So tell us one of the last ingredients you want to talk about today.
One of the last ingredients is set a schedule. I know we talked about this before, that seems disease. I can't remember the third thing we said.
Well, it was purpose and connection we were talking about.
So when you want to be connected with your family, this is so important. The smartphone. My son lives in Denver, my younger son. And when he moved from Florida, my heart sank. But guess what? I get to see him all the time because we FaceTime. In fact, he moved into a new apartment. I was able to help him organize and put his kitchen away over FaceTime
That's so cool.
because I could see what he was doing. It was amazing. So if you can think about the possibilities that await you
Yeah.
in learning some of this technology, you don't have to learn all of it, but learn the parts that keep you connected to your loved ones so you don't feel as lonely. If you're in the house and you can't get out, seeing the face of someone you love, even if it's on a screen in front of you, connects you, makes you, fills you in a way that nothing else does. And so the idea that these devices can tether us to people that we care about all over the world is, I think, the single best thing about smartphones, bar nothing else. keeping us connected to the people that we love.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And all of these things are part of our vitality, is like keeping us young, keeping us involved. I think that once you stop doing that, you lose that zest for life.
Staying involved, social connections are arguably the most important facet of longevity.
Yeah.
Because when you have social connections, you have a place. You have an identity and a place within a group. And in many cases, that place gives you purpose. Maybe it's taking care of little ones or reading them stories when they live 3,000 miles away. Having these social connections, and even if they are on the phone, are incredibly life-giving.
Yeah. I love it. All right. So when does the book come out?
The book will be out towards the end of April, just in a few weeks from now. And we're on the final edit. It's just so exciting. And it will be available on my website, takethisphonenandshove.com. And it will also be available on Amazon. So I am just thrilled to be here to be able to talk about it. I can't thank you enough for recognizing how fun and valuable this project is
I love
for
it.
so many people.
I'm going to tell all the old people, older people, I want to call them old, older people that I meet about you. And I just want you to give us a final like power statement for our audience, because we have an audience of all different ages. And I think the message here, there's a deeper message, right? It's a deeper message that you're not too old. And I come across so many people that are, you know, entering that 50, 60-year old thing. They may have had a corporate job, but they weren't kind of fulfilled in that. What do you tell those people that may want to enter into what I call the phase two, in doing something new and different in this next phase of their life? What kind of advice do you want to give them?
Never let age define you. Age is a number. And when I was 29, as a baby boomer, I was flipping out that I was going to turn 30. It was like life was over, right? And a 40-something woman that I was complaining to said to me, she looked at me, she said, Anne, you're old enough to have a past and young enough to have a future. I just, it rocked my world. And suddenly 30 didn't bother me anymore. 70 didn't bother me. 75 won't bother me because I'm young enough to have a future.
I
And
love
that's
that.
for anybody, any age. We still got it. And there's life to be lived and experiences to be had and things to be learned at any
At
age.
any age. Say it one more time.
We're old enough to have a past and young enough to have a future.
I love it, Anne. I want the t-shirt, and I want take this phone and shove it on the back. Let's start a movement, Anne. I'm loving what you're doing, and I'm loving you. And I thank you so much for being a guest on the Stay on Course podcast.
Such a pleasure. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.